you a question. Do you have your sights set on creating $1 million business? Or maybe you're already there and you've got some other really, really big goal. You're going to want to stay tuned today because we're going to talk about a better, more powerful way to get there than what most entrepreneurs do when they've got a big goal. And it's called outcome engineering. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson-Strick, and I'm a profit strategist, and I'm a business optimizer for fast-paced entrepreneurs and visionaries who have really big goals and dreams. And this is a show dedicated to helping you power up from the inside out, really looking at all the different facets of what we have to master as business owners so that we can create sustainable businesses that are thriving and helping millions of people all over the world. And today I want to introduce you to a friend of mine named Kari Hagensmith. Now, Kari is part of a company called The Secret Weapon, Inc. And they have a strategic planning process that creates an easy to follow roadmap to your big vision. With a wealth of fun and interesting profit generating strategies, Kari is an engaging speaker that gives audiences a new view of their business and gets them ready to take action. And she's partnered with a woman named Karen Wells. They are the dynamic duo behind The Secret Weapon, Inc. And they've created an intensive profit-generating workshop that teaches business owners just like you and I how to create invincible, or is it invincible? Invincible? Okay, businesses that they desire. Now, Kari, the reason Kari and I have become friends on a personal note is that we've served together on the executive leadership team at Women's Speakers Association, and I've just gotten to know her over these last couple of years and was just really profoundly moved by this process that they do, and similar to some things I do, but way more extensive. And I just was really excited to have her come today to talk with us about this powerful process. So Kari, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I know we sort of had a mind meld when we talked about the process and the different things that we really want for our clients.
Yeah, and we were really kind of geeking out too. We're like, oh my God, show me that tool again. Oh, how does that work? Oh, and you do this. Oh, and I do that. And it was just,
I know.
It's like
pretty fun.
Having a business crush, but it was
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got to the place where you and Karen came together around this process. Like what was the spark for you?
It was a blind date. A friend of ours who each one of us, somebody who had known me for years ahead of time. And she said, you guys just have to meet. I just can't tell you why, but you're supposed to meet. And we really came together around the speaking side of things because as a franchise owner at the time and a regional developer, Karen was developing more franchise owners. Mm-hmm. So my job would have been to go out and do speaking engagements to encourage those that might be interested in a coaching franchise to come find out more about it at the time. And that was really what my role would have been. All things changed pretty quickly, and we didn't circle around again and come back together until about 5 years ago. And then the reason is because where she was before, they were more mindset oriented and she wanted the practicals because there are a lot of mindset coaches out there that do a fabulous job and we all, gosh knows, need it. But the practicals where it comes down to what do the financial spreadsheets look like? How do you project? The things that we do that are the tacticals weren't really being taken care of by as many coaches, and that's her passion. And now I've become passionate about it because it does change how I see our business.
Yeah. And to me, it seems like, there's a marrying of once I've got my head in the right place and I can actually see what's possible. One of the things that happens next is there's this huge gap between what we see as possible and knowing what steps to take and staying the path and not getting overwhelmed by it. So let's talk about how outcome engineering can help us really understand and have all the right elements in place to make the path clear.
Well, the first thing to me about outcome engineering is being honest with yourself about what the outcome is that you truly want. So many times we look at ourselves and say, well, I'm this age, I'm this smart, I got this much education, and I should be doing this, so I want that. Well, the shoulds never work. And so the most important is, what do you really want? Not everybody else should think you want all of those things. So the very first thing I do when clients decide, okay, I want this, I ask the question, so what are the unintended consequences of getting that outcome? Because some of the things that hold us back are as we call it, the choir in our head. Sometimes it's a soloist and it sounds like your mom. Sometimes it's not just the third grade teacher, but the whole third grade. And so some of that is important, though we don't necessarily deal with mindset if we don't find out right in the beginning that your path is at least somewhat clear to get into that vision. Something can hold you back. So if there's any unintended consequences for you, you want to ferret those out first. And that way it really makes that outcome clear in your mind, really clear. What we know, the fun thing is actually, Melanie, is when we work with the client and they set their vision and then we set the path to get them, to show them what the path is step by step, they say, oh, heck, I could do that in 3 years. And the funny thing is we usually say, I know, but you weren't ready to see that. So as big as we think we're thinking, what really happens is when the reason we think sometimes only so big is because we can't imagine really how it's going to happen. So that how, we kind of get stuck and we start making the vision maybe a little smaller. And then we say, okay, I can envision that and kind of make up how. When they see every little step that it takes, they're like, wow, I can do this. And that's the beauty of it, is watching the light bulb go on and a business owner saying, okay, first step tomorrow.
Yes. So the process is about getting clear about this big outcome.
Yes.
And then I use the word reverse engineering because that's many, many years ago, back in my corporate days, that's what we did. We reverse engineered things to get the outcome we wanted. Right. But maybe give us a couple of the highlights of what we have to really look at in this trajectory so that we can anchor things down and actually achieve these big goals.
And the reason, again, we say reverse or outcome engineering is because our philosophies are, let's get to the end and work our way backwards so that we can plan backwards and work the plan forward.
Yeah.
Then when we don't start at the other end and plan backwards, the biggest challenge is we're pushing a boulder uphill. Well, what's the next thing I should do? And the next thing I should do? And the next thing I should do? In reality, I want to know, okay, what's your corporate office going to look like? Corporate office, I'm working out of my home. I don't care. I want to know what your corporate office is going to look like. What town do you want it in? Now, what would you have to have in place before you get that corporate office? Well, I'd have to have it. So now they start thinking. Now they think from the other side, that outcome, and start planning backwards. Well, I'd have to have this in place. And then I'd have to have that in place. And then, 150, 250 steps later, they go, and that's what I have to do tomorrow. So that vision out there becomes everything. Too many times we get stuck where we are and our vision just gets taken down or shrunk by where we are, instead of really being able to say, that's what I'm going to do, and this is possible.
So I'm imagining three things happen. First of all, when we do this process, we get really, really, really committed and energized by the outcome because we can see it now, right? It becomes real. And when we are having challenges, when we're really committed to something much bigger, those challenges feel smaller and more easier to overcome them, rather than if you're just in the moment, those challenges can seem huge. So I can see that being one piece. But the second piece is it causes us to look at the different pieces of becoming successful that we might not look at early enough in our journey, and we make short-term decisions that actually cause massive fallout and distraction from creating what we truly want, and we just don't know we want it yet.
Well, and I'm famous for that. I will get excited about, oh, let's go join this group, or we should go do this, or I've got a great idea. And unfortunately, I have a business partner to say, that sounds good, but where does it fit in our plan?
Yeah.
Say, oh, either actually it doesn't really fit in our plan, or what it is yes, it's great for our plan, but if you look at it, it's not now. And that instant gratification of coming up with a great idea or, getting excited about something is really hard to resist when you don't have the plan.
Yeah.
That plan really makes, it makes it easy to say, does it fit or doesn't it fit?
That was my third point, is you make better choices because, I coach a lot of people. I work with different leadership teams, and, it's really easy if you don't have that bigger goal and a plan to get there. You'll expend resources on things that aren't getting you anywhere, and you just spin. And here's another thing, and this happens a lot, especially with fast-paced entrepreneurs.
Yes.
You end up just going this way, and you don't really grow. And I think so having that clarity of outcome is really important. I agree.
Well, as I say, we take entrepreneurs who are willing to do anything. I mean, they're so willing. They're ready. And the exciting part is to take them into business owners who know exactly what to do next.
Yes.
And
so what happens when you know exactly what to do next as a business owner?
It makes every day easier because I can jump ship pretty easily and think something else is important. When, yes, it's part of building my business, but actually that piece doesn't belong today. This is not the day. I have other things that I have to get done. And it makes doing my calendar a lot easier because now I can, instead of saying, what should I do tomorrow? I can say, well, obviously I'm working on clients tomorrow, but in between, here's the next step. It's already mapped out for me. I got to tell you, taking the thinking out of it, the decision making really makes it a lot easier. Maybe some people think not as fun, but there's fun to be had when you make real progress.
Yeah, it's a lot more. It feeds that part of us that needs to feel progress.
Yeah.
Instead of spinning. Okay, so I'm making up this story in my head that is probably a story I've heard many, many times from clients out there when I've tried to get them to get clear on their outcomes. And that is, Melanie, I like to be in the moment. I'm creative. This is going to turn off all my creativity. And I can't tell you how many people have said, I don't even know how much money I want to make, let alone what I want my business to look like 5 years from now. What would be your advice to someone who maybe is wired to be more in the moment and thinking big like that and seeing what's out there in the future doesn't resonate for them?
Let me tell you the advantage of doing it, and maybe that will encourage some to do it. Here's the biggest advantage. When you see the end very clearly, what we know is that the shortcuts to getting there start appearing. If you just are in the moment and working it and being creative, yes, it may take you new places, but as you say, it may only expand you, but not project you forward, and can be fun. But again, the fun can also be setting to get to a place and actually achieving what you set out to do. We know so many business owners whose path has been shortcut because they already had seen what they needed to do, and somebody came along their path with an opportunity or a way to do something, or even a trainer that had exactly what they needed to learn. And wahoo, this is the piece that fits. As opposed to, I know that we have all passed up opportunity. And the reason that we passed it up is because we didn't realize it was an opportunity for us. In hindsight, we'll go, gee, I wish I had done that. Well, yes, because I'm here now. So let's project there, think about it, so that we can shortcut it with all of the opportunity that comes across our path.
Yeah. I think also it's recognizing that even if you go out in the future and you set this vision, it can change. You're not locked in. It's not like it's in concrete and you have to follow that step, right? It's like this is a way of activating the most resourceful, the most powerful, and the most intentional part of you. And if you decide that something has to change in this vision along the way, then you evaluate it and you make a positive decision for the future. But when you use this, your energy is stronger, you're more motivated, and you're more effective, I would say.
I think you're more effective, that's for sure, because I have certainly been ineffective at, because I'm creative. I love that. I want to design a new this or try a new that. And the philosophy that we share now is get good at stay in your lane and make it a fast lane. Then you can add more lanes. But get your lane to be a fast lane that's documented, ready to go, duplicatable, all finished. And one of the things we say, Melanie, is is your business unreliable, income wise, maybe? It's viable. You totally know that. Or is it buyable? Now, not everybody wants to sell their business. I get that. But if your business is buyable, then it is actually running at optimum.
Mm.
And that's the beauty of it. It means all the systems and structures are there so that somebody could come in and say, well, I don't have to be you to make this a business. I could just do everything you've already laid out to do, and I could make it a business. And that's the beauty of it. It also means that our energies aren't duplicated all the time. How many times have you, and I know you don't do this anymore, but how many times when we started out, did we rewrite an email? Oh yeah, I wrote that one to that guy before that asked this question. Let me rewrite it. Or we rewrite and recreate and redevise conversations in our head that actually we've had before. When you do that, then as you were saying, you're so much more effective if you've done all of the work to project out where you're going, get those things laid out, and you are more effective.
Yeah, well said. I'm just reflecting on this, path between starting and then finding the space where you can automate and leverage, and then, then you really start to scale and you make your business more sellable. But sometimes you don't have to go through the middle point if you know where you want to be at the end. You can go right to sellable and profitable.
Well, the middle point just doesn't have to take so long.
Right.
I think we talk about 5 stages of business that are universal around the world. And chaos is the second stage of business where most business owners stay. And that means their income isn't predictable, really. Well, it's predictable for a few months. And they go, well, then that's not predictable really yet, right? And it doesn't matter how long business owners have been in business. We watch them stay in chaos. They're never in the real stability stage where everything is able to duplicate. And we've got businesses that are 25 years old and they're still in chaos. And it's disheartening to watch business owners struggle when they don't have to.
Yeah. Do you think that people get addicted to that struggle?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's addicted. I think it's a comfort zone. I think for some of us, it may have come in a comfort zone the way we were reared. Mm-hmm. Our family, maybe it feels like an adrenaline thing for us. And okay, so I'll be a little transparent here. I used to always I always had a plan B, and to my 8-year-old, and we were out, I don't know, traveling one time, and I said, oh, that's okay, I've got plan B, I'll just do this. And she looks at me and she says, well, Mom, that's maybe because your plan A's never work out. Oh my gosh. God. So I had to go internally and say, why would that be? Is it because I always have a backstop with the plan B? Or do I have a bit of a savior complex in myself that says I can let things fall apart and be crazy and still pick up the pieces and look like I'm top notch? That is also, I think, an addictive behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting because no matter how successful we get, there are patterns that play out. And I'm bringing this up because I think, again, it always comes back to mindset and what are we building this business to prove or to create as a way of being? Oftentimes our businesses are a complete reflection of our core beliefs and our patterns and our paradigms. And so I think it's worth taking a look at. Are you operating from patterns that keep you from actually building your bigger plan because you're somehow caught in a loop because it's what's comfortable and known? And I bring it up because I actually have several really, really financially successful people in my life who a couple of them are just so in this addictive adrenaline rush around product launches because they don't really have a big plan. They just go make a bunch of money, turn their life upside down for, 10 weeks and then go back and live their life.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a merry-go-round they're caught on. So it's just an interesting paradigm to look at, is how can this actually serve you on so many levels to not just make your business better, but what if it could actually make your life better because you're creating from a much more powerful and intentional place.
Well, isn't that the goal? Yes, if your business is your life, it still can be better with that.
Yes.
But for most of us, hopefully, that's not our whole life.
What? Have a life outside of work? You're talking to the queen of life outside of work.
And all of your pictures show that you're in fabulous places, enjoying wonderful people, and that's so important. And yes, and take a look at how does it affect our families when we do this adrenaline junkie, 10 weeks or what have you. One of the things that we talk about is your family on board with this plan? Take it home. Ask them, if I were to do all of this, what does that mean for you? How do you feel about it? What role do you want to play? Right? Do you like being a cheerleader for me? Well, no, I'm really tired of it. Okay, good to know. Good to know. How can we work that out? Because if you have important people in your life, it is important to make sure that in some way they know their part, even if it's just to leave you alone sometimes so you can work.
Yeah. And I'm just going to make up this crazy story. What if you're really committed to this vision and your family isn't? Are there ways to help them, feel more comfortable with your vision and get on board, create better win-win outcomes, or maybe you need to know those things now so that you don't get into what I call internal conflicts where this war is going on. Like, I don't want to lose my family to create this. And then you stall out on your vision.
I would agree. When I asked I used to be a goals coach with Success Motivation Institute. And when I would ask clients about the whole outcome and what kind of unintentional consequences could happen, one gal said, well, my sister has always bashed me for making money more than her. Now, if I'm wildly successful, I don't even know if she'll talk to me. So what do you have to do with that? And she said, either accept it or not do it. And I said, well, there's a third option right now. She says, what is that? Talk to her. Talk to her. Say, look, I know you've always bashed me for this, and I'm about to be wildly successful, but I don't really want to lose your relationship. How can I make that happen? She was really surprised at the answer.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. There's that whole weird communication thing that most of us forget to do.
Well, because we're communicating with the choir, with whoever we think they are, whatever we've made up in their head, they're going to say back to us. And we never stop to not never, but we often don't stop to find out if any of it's true.
Mm-hmm. Well said. I would agree with you. See it all the time in the Money DNA program.
I bet you do. Absolutely.
So, Kari, I'm kind of curious. Obviously, you've had many evolutions of yourself as you've, traveled the entrepreneurial path. What was the most challenging yet rewarding thing that you had to learn to do to really embrace the business you're in today?
Well, I guess I'd have to go back to the conversation you and I had last week. I have not been a plotter, a planner. Doing these spreadsheets I thought was completely outside my ability to sit focused long enough to do it. Not that Numbers and I are friends. I could do this intellectually, but focusing was not my strong suit. And in the last 3 weeks, I've been on a journey to understand why. And I have investigated the ADD part of what could be possible. Of course, when I was young, a long time ago, they didn't talk about that. That was never something, that was not an issue. That wasn't a thing, as they say, right? So for me, having to, and as my business partner says, I would always say, well, it's not my brain lead. Don't make me do it. It's not my brain lead. And of course, Karen would say, how would you know you haven't tried? Okay, well, that's true. So then I would sit down and do the spreadsheet and the projections and say, okay, they want to make this much. Now I've got to figure out in 5 years how to ramp them up monetarily so this all makes sense when I go to the priorities list. And it got kind of exciting because I was willing to try it, first of all. And then I've been using a lot of different tactics for managing and recognizing when I get into an ADD spin. It's been pretty fascinating. And I recognize it sooner. I can cut the time down to shorter and start being more effective.
Yes, so highly creative entrepreneurs just know this process is not going to make you go insane. It's not going to take away your gift. It's going to allow you to hone it and to strengthen it.
Well, here's the cool part. I've learned how to do it so you don't have to as much, right?
Yes.
You give us the figures, we'll make the plan for you. The strategy pieces, the tactical pieces, yeah, you have to write them down, but we'll help you with all of that. So it isn't on you only. I think that would make most people crazy, even because entrepreneurs just don't, that's not what they really want to do for the most part.
Right.
For the most part. Right. We just want the results. So our whole plan is to, and you know, like old GPS systems would say, stay on the lighted path. Stay on the lighted path. Well, right now we don't know where the heck the lighted path is. So once we lay out the lighted path, our job is just to keep you on the lighted path.
Mm. That is awesome. It's such a great resource out there. And I think it's something we all can benefit from doing. And I've heard of a few different programs out there over the years that are similar in nature, but there's just something about the way you guys do this that it's really like it's exciting to get this vision together and to have a roadmap after that. So I'm glad we could talk about it.
One of the biggest things is that most people don't take an assessment of where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What they do is they just start out, but they don't assess where they are now and even what adjustments they could make now to make a difference. So that also is pretty important. We think we know where we are now, but until we really take a few assessments or take a look at that, of course, we always have a fabulous one, but we're not the only ones. And there's a way to find out where you are now in each area. We look at 12 areas of business, and most business owners look at 2, sales and marketing. Most business owners don't try to wrap their arms around all 12 areas of business so that they can have a really strong foundation.
Is there a best time in your trajectory as an entrepreneur to do this exercise and this process?
Thinking the whole process, I think the whole process serves someone who's been in business, a year and a half, sometimes it's 3 years, and they've got a tiger by the tail and they know it. They know this could be big. It's starting to get out of control at the edges. For some of our clients, it's already out of control, but that's the optimum for us. It's time to don't keep trying to slog through it, because honestly, you didn't get into business to do that. You got into business to serve more clients, do what you do best. You really enjoy it. The business structure around it, it's time to just get it into place and move on rather than continuing to struggle. And we also watch businesses who don't get it done, and they have limited their growth because they don't know how to put the pieces in place that will actually be the steps out there to make it work.
Yeah, totally get that. I think you're right on. And that's about the time when you can really embrace this part of the process, because you've got some trajectory under your belt, but you're realizing, whoa, this is a lot.
Right. Well, your business is morphed, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's changed dramatically. And there was something that happened my second year into making a lot of money. My business, everything changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Here's what we always say. Go ugly early. Just go ugly early. Get it out there. Don't spend all the money on the website and the logo and all of that. Get out there. Get known, because your business is going to morph. Then you settle into what you're really doing, how it feels, who you serve. Now you can spend the money to really solidify it, probably for the first time, because as you and I know, we do go through transitions. But now you can spend the money to make it great, right? And now you spend the money to educate yourself. We spend money on different things, usually at the wrong time as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so our biggest, what we could advocate for is making sure you're spending your money at the right times. Don't spend it when you're invisible and nobody really knows about you. Spend it on marketing when they know something about you. And then spend it on more education, not about what you do, but about business when that time comes. Yes, it's great. And especially because we have a workshop that's a primer on all of this. So any business owner thinking about a business or in the early stages can come to that, and it works fabulously. The interesting thing is we've had a few MBAs in the room that have been in business for a while, and they say, okay, you did make me think differently about my business.
That's a great compliment.
Yes, very much so. So we kick their butt for 2 days and send them back out there to do some real action items on their business.
I love it. So let's share with everybody how they could get connected with you to find out more about the workshops and this outcome engineering process.
Wonderful. Well, of course, I'm all over Facebook. So if you can spell Kari Hagensmith, which is on your screen, I'm everywhere. And so is my phone number. Our website is The Secret Weapon Inc. or thesecretweaponinc.com. And we have an events page. It gives you an opportunity to see all of the events we have. We usually plan a year in advance, so they're all up there. But our business owner reboot is the one that really help, because business owners get malware along the way. Somebody's told them this, they've thought this, they've changed this, they don't even know what they're doing anymore, right? But they're making money, they're moving, just not where they want to go. So we want to get you in, shake out the malware, and give you some new directions to start thinking about all the base of your business. So we do have an events page, and I always have an offer, for inviting me in on your show. I would love to give them a discount. So that's always available if they want to PM me, or I don't know if you want me to announce that now, but
why should we take the mystery out of it? Make them come find you, right?
It's normally $995 to come for our 2 days, but if you want to fly in, we want to make sure you have enough money to do that, and it's $495.
Oh, that's a really significant discount. Thank you for sharing that.
It's exciting. And if you have a second person in your business that you want to bring with you, we also want to make that affordable. So it's a little bit less for the second person in your business. We want to make sure that you get here. Our whole mission is really to change the way business thinks and acts. If we do that, it will be amazing how our society will change if we're making enough money, and we don't have to be wildly successful to be like this, but if our business is on track and we're not making our family crazy, that means we might have more time to volunteer in our community. We can do so many more things, and that's what Karen's and my mission is.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I highly recommend you guys go check it out. As you're listening in today, there's a whole new paradigm that we're introducing here about starting with the end in mind and really creating a 5-year plan, but not just any plan. Let's create $1 million plan. Let's really create a $5 million plan if you've already gotten to $1 million. If you're just at 6 figures, maybe you want to focus on a $200,000 plan.
Right.
Pick something and build the plan to get there, outcome engineer it. And there's no better place to do it than to get into an immersion of time and just put the rest of the world aside and just do it with Karen and Kari in this event. So go check it out. We'll have the URL right here for you as well. It's also on the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. And I really want to encourage you, get your plan in place. Thanks, Kari, for being here and sharing some really actionable ideas for us today to create a much bigger vision and make it real.
I hope they go out and build it.
Yay. All right. Bye, everybody.